Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a little bit of a look at the best cards to pull from Destined Rivals pre-releases. Because you know what? Pre-releases start this weekend. This Saturday, 6 days away. On the 17th of May, your Destined Rivals pre-releases begin. And look, I've made no secret of the fact that I personally find it quite disappointing that they've changed how the pre-release promos are working. And that instead of getting your normal, fancy, wonderful alternate art pre-release promos, you are instead just getting regular cards from the set stamped. I've been pretty clear about that. We don't need to talk about that again. But make no mistake about it, Destined Rivals as a set is still an extremely cool set, and it is one that you should be, well, honestly a little bit excited about. But as is always the case, when you go to pre-releases, you don't know what you're looking to pull, you don't know what the best cards are. That, ladies and gentlemen, is where I come in. This is not intended to be a big top 10 list with accurate prices. I'll do that when the set's out and we've got the relevant information. But what I can do right now is have a look at the set, have a look at what's gone on in the relevant sets over in Japan, and give you a pretty accurate idea of what the big cards in the set are. Sound like a plan? Excellent. Because there are two special illustration rares which really do loom above all of the rest, and they are Team Rocket's Mewtwo and Cynthia's Garchomp. For what it's worth, Team Rocket's Mewtwo in Japan is currently about 1/3 higher than Cynthia's Garchomp, so Team Rocket's Mewtwo should be looked at as the big card, the one that is most sought after, the really big one in the set, and then Cynthia's Garchomp should be looked at as a absolute beast of a card, but just a little bit lower than we see from Team Rocket's Mewtwo. Again, just to be perfectly clear, Cynthia's Garchomp is still a big deal. It's still a huge card. It is just a step lower than Team Rocket's Mewtwo. And look, there's reasons these are the big cards. Obviously, these are the big cards for the Japanese sets. The Team Rocket set, Glory of Team Rocket, and the Trainers set, Hot Air Arena. These are the big cards from each of those respectively. And essentially, you've got very popular Pokemon. You've got Mewtwo and Garchomp, both very popular Pokemon. You've got, obviously, the low pull rate of the fact that, you know, they are the special illustration rares. And then these are actually pretty playable cards. Now, the Mewtwo we're still not 100% sure on. There's clearly a lot of potential here with the Mewtwo being able to do, you know, up to 280 damage for free energy. But the Garchomp is proving to be one of the better trainers Pokemon over in Japan right now. So, frankly, these are the top two cards in the set. And there is a little bit of a gap between these two and the rest. Neither of them are hideously, horrendously playable, but they're both pretty cool. Now, there's then a second tier of special illustration rares. And again, there's two cards in here. And again, there's one card from each set. We've got Team Rocket's Moltres, my personal chase card for the set, and we've got Ethan's Ho-Oh. A card I would be very happy to pull, but make no mistake about it, the Team Rocket's Moltres, that is a card I'm looking to pick up. Now, the Japanese one is very expensive. The English one should be a little bit cheaper. They generally are. Not a guarantee in this era, of course, but a man can dream, ladies and gentlemen. A man can dream. But this is my chase card for the set. I think this is absolutely just flat out ridiculous, over the top, amazing. The Akira Igawa artwork is absolutely stunning. It's a decent enough card. Free energy, 110, take 50 less next turn. Or for 4 energy, if you discard a Team Rocket's energy, you can just discard your opponent's active Pokemon. You don't take any prizes because you're not knocking out, but you do get them off the board, and that's kind of hilarious. But still, great card in terms of art. Ethan's Ho-Oh, borderline playable because of the whole, you can attach 2 extra grass energy to one of your Ethan's Pokemon, which is nice. But again, you know, and this actually got the nostalgia factor going on because, come on, Gen 2 protagonist, Ho-Oh flying over the top. If you've got love for Gen 2 Pokemon, you'll see this card and be like, oh, okay, no, I absolutely get it. So in terms of the big cards in the set, we got a clear 1 and 2 which is Team Rocket's Mewtwo and Cynthia's Garchomp. And then a kind of a joint third, which is Ethan's Ho-Oh and Team Rocket's Moltres. Nominally, I would expect Ethan's Ho-Oh to actually be number 3 and Moltres to be number 4, but let's not get too caught up in that. They are the main ones. After that, obviously, any special illustration rare is big, but there's no huge ones. Team Rocket's Nidoking, Team Rocket's Crobat, and Ethan's Adventure are probably your next 3 up. They're cool cards. They're not amazing. They're not stunning value-wise, but they would be the next 3 up afterwards. But they're not going to be these big... Well, let me be clear. We don't expect them to be this big, giant chase cards like the ones I've already mentioned. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see as we go along. But these are the next 3 around. Any illustration rares, special illustration rares, are obviously going to be a pretty big deal. But I think at this stage, we can look at them and go, okay, that's what we've got in terms of, the big deal. Lovely. What about illustration rares? What about your regular illustration rares? Because there's actually a few of them in the set, which are pretty gosh darn good as well. There are some here we should be very, very excited about. And here we do really have a top 3. So the number 1 should be Misty Psyduck. Now this is another one of my absolute chase cards from the set, because it's Okacheke artwork. And I've said this before on this channel, and I mean it very sincerely. Artistically speaking, this might be my actual favourite Pokemon card ever. This might be my favourite looking Pokemon card I've ever seen, and I do not say that lightly. It is that gosh darn good. The number 2 in the set should in theory be Ethan's Typhlosion, but Team Rocket's Meowth is very, very close. Misty Psyduck should be the number 1, and then Ethan's Typhlosion and Team Rocket's Meowth should be pretty even right behind. Over in Japan, like I've said, Ethan's Typhlosion does just about nudge over into second, but it is very, very close, like 100 yen in it. 100 yen, if anybody's wondering, is not very much. If we go by, current exchange rates, 100 yen comes out as, you ready for this? 68 cents. So that's basically the difference between those 2 cards right now. So illustration rare-wise, it really is those 3. I think nominally after that, we could put Misty's Lapras and Cynthia's Roserade. And then maybe Team Rocket's Houndoom. Like, they're probably the next 3 up. But again, it's really worth pointing out that with those cards, they're very, very close together. So, and they're not that far away from the rest. So if you want to put those as like the next trio, that's fine. But I don't think it's really as pronounced as it is, for instance, with the top 3 that are really very, very big. We have a clear top 3 when it comes to the illustration rares here. And yeah, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for Misty's Psyduck, you're looking for Ethan's Typhlosion, and you're looking for Team Rocket's Meowth. Do remember that these illustration rares have always been at least 3 per box. As in, they've always, not at least 3 per box, they've always been 3 per box. So there's going to be people out there that pull these 3 as their 3 illustration rares from the box, and they are going to be delighted, as they gosh darn well should be. There we go. Now, those are the cards we're really looking out for here, let's be honest with you. But there are some other cards which are worth keeping an eye out for. They're not the big ones, I think is fair to say at this point. In terms of gold cards, Cynthia's Garchomp and Team Rocket's Mewtwo again should be number 1 and 2, with Ethan's Ho-Oh coming in 3rd, and then everything else a fair way down. That's basically where we are here. Like, we've got those 3 that are pretty clear, and then underneath that there is a pretty big drop, which again is kind of to be expected. The gold cards are not usually that big, but we have these 3, and you might be noticing a little bit of a pattern here with Mewtwo, Garchomp, and Ho-Oh. Yes, there is a little bit of a pattern here that they tend to be jumping up as the biggest ones. And that's basically it. That's what you should be looking out for. And I'm not saying there aren't other cards in the set which aren't cool. And I'm not saying there aren't cards which are worth picking up and all of that. But really, with the special illustration rares, we are looking at Mewtwo number 1, with Garchomp number 2 as a clear 1 and 2. We're then looking at Moltres and Ho-Oh as kind of a joint third. In terms of illustration rares, we're looking at Misty Psyduck, we're looking at Ethan's Typhlosion, and we're looking at Team Rocket's Meowth. They really are the top 3 in terms of illustration rares. And in terms of your gold cards, you really are looking at, again, Garchomp, Mewtwo, and Ho-Oh. That's what you should be looking for. Those are the big cards when you get to your pre-release. We're all going to have different chase cards, of course, but those are generally the ones that we're going to be looking at and going, oh, no, I want these. I want these very much. What is a little bit annoying for me on a personal level is that actually several of these are particular chase cards of mine. Like the Team Rocket's Moltres and the Misty Psyduck, they are my favourite cards in the set. No, it's not ideal that they are among the best cards in the entire set, but this is how it goes sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. This is how it goes. We can be upset about it, or we can move on with our lives. For now, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know what your chase cards for the set are. I want to know what you're after. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Good us. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Dojo, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.